A prison sentence that jolted a nation. A political figure whose silence stretched too long. And now, a confrontation erupting at the heart of Westminster, shaking the very foundations of British politics. After weeks of holding back, Keir Starmer has finally spoken out on the Lucy Connelly scandal, and not with caution, but with fire. His response was fierce, uncompromising, and aimed straight at his critics. Almost instantly, Richard Tice hit back with equal intensity. What began as a political controversy has now detonated into a war of narratives that could redefine the balance between justice, speech, and power in the UK. This isn't just about one controversial post. It's about who controls the boundaries of expression and what happens when those boundaries shift. Lucy Connelly's downfall began with a single tweet. One she deleted. One she regrets. But that didn't stop the consequences from snowballing. Arrested for hate speech. Handed a sentence of more than 2.5 years. Not suspended, not symbolic, but hard time. The response? Outrage from some corners, silence from others. And as the nation debated, one voice surged above the noise. Reform UK leader Richard Tice. He branded her conviction a political vendetta. He painted Lucy as a canary in the coal mine, a warning that free opinion had become a punishable offense. But Starmer? For weeks, nothing but vague remarks. He said he was monitoring the situation. To critics, it felt like evasion. To his allies, it was calculated caution. But the silence didn't last. Now, with pressure mounting, Starmer has broken ranks with his earlier reserve. The language has sharpened. The gloves are off. In a behind-closed-doors meeting that quickly leaked, Starmer allegedly condemned the backlash as manufactured hysteria. He accused Reform UK of playing politics with the justice system, manipulating outrage for electoral gain. Then, standing before the press, he delivered one of his most assertive statements to date. We must not confuse freedom of speech with freedom from accountability. No one is jailed for their opinions. They are jailed when those opinions become incitement, hate, and harm. There would be no backpedaling, no apology, no review. For Starmer, this was justice as it should be, firm and clear. But the public didn't react quietly. Richard Tice roared back, calling Starmer a coward who hides behind legalese. This isn't about hate. It's about fear, he said. Fear of voices that challenge the narrative. Fear of losing control. To Tice, Lucy's case had become a damning reflection of institutional hypocrisy, where dissent is criminalized and the powerful deflect accountability with polished statements. He didn't stop at words. Tice launched an emergency petition, Lucy's Bill. It demanded a full inquiry into her arrest, conviction, and conditions inside prison. In just hours, the signatures poured in. Protests swelled outside government buildings. Journalists began probing prison records. Across Britain, ordinary citizens who had never heard of Lucy Connelly before were suddenly asking themselves, could this happen to me? And the pressure on Starmer intensified. Whispers began to circulate among Labour's own MPs. Some questioned the optics. Others were disturbed by Starmer's refusal to acknowledge reports of mistreatment. Lucy allegedly kept in solitary confinement, bruised, denied family contact. Starmer never addressed it, never mentioned her name. He spoke about principles, not people, about justice, not compassion. His words, critics said, sounded like a legal brief, not the voice of a leader grappling with the human cost of governance. And then came Tice's most incendiary accusation yet. Standing before a crush of cameras and furious supporters, he declared Starmer complicit in political torture. He accused him of cloaking injustice in the robes of legality. You don't get to claim you stand for justice, Tice said, while ignoring those crushed beneath its weight. He warned the public, if this could be done to Lucy, it could be done to anyone. As the heat intensified in Westminster, the ripple effects spread far beyond the capital. What started as a controversial tweet had morphed into a nationwide reckoning on justice, on the limits of speech, and on the trust people place in the institutions that govern them. Starmer's attempt to project strength had backfired. The harder he pushed the narrative of accountability, the more people saw something else: control, rigidity, and a refusal to confront nuance. The image of a leader defending the system had been replaced by that of a politician unmoved by suffering. Inside Labour's own walls, unrest grew. Some MPs, still loyal in public, were privately uneasy. They worried that Starmer's unwillingness to address the brutality of Lucy's treatment, her sudden transfers, her alleged manhandling, was playing directly into the opposition's hands. But few dared speak openly. The fear of internal backlash loomed large. Meanwhile, Tice only amplified his campaign. From GB News to podcasts to street rallies, he repeated the same chilling refrain: Lucy is Britain's first modern political prisoner. To some, it was an exaggeration. To others, it was a warning that hit too close to home. Public opinion began to shift. What many had initially written off as a fringe case became a catalyst for broader unease. People weren't rallying behind Lucy's words, but against the scale of her punishment. Memes compared her sentence to violent criminals who had served less time. Two-tier justice trended. Hashtags like #FreeLucy and #JusticeNotVengeance flooded feeds. Suddenly, this wasn't just about Lucy. It was about Britain's direction, about whether the country was still a place where speech, even offensive speech, is answered with debate and not imprisonment. As the political storm rages on, the nation finds itself at a crossroads. One path promises order, discipline, and firm red lines around hate. The other demands empathy, proportionality, and a sober look at how power is exercised. Lucy Connelly sits behind bars. But the real sentence may be falling on the nation's conscience. And the reckoning has only just begun.